potential and the capability of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. And in fact, I must say that the bedrock of goodwill for humanity at large provides us the springboard for taking things to a higher level. I'm sure that this historical legacy has enough resilience of its own not to be undone by misguided and evil elements from outside. The day-to-day life, such element of tolerance is all too evident in the manner in which tourists and visitors from not only all over the country but even abroad are welcomed and looked after in Kashmir. I shall make bold to say that resurgence of tourism after what appeared to be a permanent eclipse was due as much to the inherent goodness of hearts of the people of Kashmir as to the obvious economic motivations and also to the most efficient, vibrant governance of the state. I must congratulate Janab Umar Abdullah and his team of dedicated officers and dedicated ministers and dedicated government for having done so. As more Gunde claimed, we are aware of the various impediments that trade and commerce in the state in general and Valley and Ladakh in particular face. Causes to my mind are more geographical than political. I feel that the problems faced in the state in their own way make out a case for common national domestic market science, interstate barriers and local state regulatory agencies. I look at it as a Union Minister of Corporate Affairs. In the draft National Competition Policy, which my ministry has prepared, and we hope to bring it to force in the near future. Removal of interstate barriers to trade and commerce provide a level playing field to business, irrespective of geographical locations, is an important facet. I'm aware of many difficulties which traders of the state dealing with this horticulture and floriculture produce face in markets outside the state. I'm told that the Ministry of Commerce has attended many such problems. And in fact, the core linkage for industries, environmental issues arising on account of the region being notified as eco-sensitive zone, need for incentive to tourism sector and adjustment in the adjustment in the duties, taxes for certain sectors. And in fact, the state has shown high economic growth, but has not been able to meet the aspirations of the population, especially youth. According to the data of Census 2011, Jammu and Kashmir has a population of around 71% below 35 years of age. However, providing gainful employment to such a huge young population is one of the major governance challenges. In fact, I think another 25 to 30 years time, one country is going to enjoy the demographic dividend with perhaps 29 years average age of the working population. I think the entire India is going to derive it. This position came to years about 200 years back. Then they built the human resources and also the other physical infrastructure in such a way that they could encash upon the democratic dividend, and even till today they are ruling all over the world. I think that particular window of opportunity has come to India. And we need to, and this opportunity, if we don't avail, the entire country, and all the states put together, I think we'll be missing the opportunity which is given, maybe for another 1,000 years it may not come back again. So that's why even many of the surveys, the studies which have been made not by our institution, but even by Citibank Group, and also they understand, they say that by another 39 years, our country will be number one in purchase power, and number one, in getting to the greatest height. Next will be only China, third will be US. This is a great potential, where we should not lose. And I think any part of the country will have to, take advantage of this development. And particularly, I must tell you that the potential with this state possessed is highest. We need to take this opportunity, and maybe a definite roadmap will have to be prepared by each of the states to arrive at that and join that great mainstream to derive the demographic dividend. Both the state government and the government of India have been making continuous efforts to address the monumental challenge. And in fact, growth of private sector entrepreneurship is also a must. The professional and technical education institution will have to play a proactive role towards skill development and employability of our young population. Creating a large number of jobs will require a two-pronged strategy. First would be to identify sectors with large employment generation potential, suggest intervention to kickstart the growth process, and the second, a human resource development initiative focused on improving skill sets through improving access to education and focused placement-oriented training. In fact, large-scale employment opportunities will be generated in the private sector as the state economy grows. So focus on the agriculture and services sector that have the potential to generate jobs quickly. The sectors are likely to respond quickly to investment and productivity, enhancing initiatives by the state and the private sector. Some potential sectors are horticulture, agriculture, animal husbandry, handicrafts, tourism, medium, and from small scale, ITs and depot, hospitality, and retail. You have plenty of them, plenty of such opportunities. And we are, in our company law, there is a provision like the organizing the producer societies, producer companies. And in fact, this is a great opportunity. 10 farmers can join together. Maybe you can apply to the artisans, maybe apply to horticulture. Maybe this particular concept will have to be taken on a definitely in a national movement. This is what we would like to do it. And in fact, this has no much regrets of Cooperative Act. This has no much regard of the regular company formation. I think this kind of a tiny, small scale, medium, they can grow in a evolution process. I think this is one segment which I would suggest to the Honorable Chief Minister that we need to take. Maybe we can take it further. Maybe we can take that question forward. There's a proverb in Kashmiri proverb which I don't know. Eti tak, eti sahod, eti raat, eti dhoon, which English means there is sunlight, there is shade, there is night, there is a day. This is the great opportunity of our state. I'm very happy to know that youth of the state are not only studying in institutions of excellence all over the country, all over the world, but are making their mark in the professional institution, no less, I must say. You are the most intelligent people, but the only question is you need to channelize it properly. The recent increase in the intake of successful candidates from the state, including the girls in the civil service examination, is a welcome development which needs further promotion and encouragement. You are capable, but it has to be sustained. And a proper opportunity given to you. The youth of Jammu and Kashmir, they are here to take it on. And I salute their intelligence, salute their acumen, salute their IQ capacity, which needs to be further. I strongly feel that unfortunately the opportunity has been denied. And we need to encash upon that opportunity. I strongly feel that we must provide enabling opportunity to the young men and women of the state also to qualify in such corporate-oriented professions like chartered accountants, company secretary, cost accountancy, accredited valuers, actuaries, financial analysts, corporate executives. Having studied the psyche of the young people of this region, I must say that these sectors you can make a big success. I would rather suggest the Institute of Chartered Accountants, all these professional bodies, come and organize more and more national meets here. Instead of doing it at Bangalore or some other metropolitan city, more and more things you do it, it will motivate. It will ignite that kind of a, hidden energy in the youth or the state of Jammu and Kashmir. I am asking the relevant professionals to take more interest here. Train them here. If the capacity is not here, train them elsewhere, maybe Hyderabad or somewhere. We have chapters and chapters, where this kind of a training could be given. And I think that is a great future. We would like Kashmir University to collaborate with these institutions. I think we have done it in some way with this particular institution, do it in the rest of the institution. And you can do it in commerce management, economics, even other disciplines like applied mathematics. You can collaborate with other universities, Indian business schools. Maybe we have an institute called the Institute of Corporate Affairs. Maybe we can also collaborate with you so that we can prepare a cadre of corporate executives from among the youngsters of your state. Maybe they can go everywhere in the world over, all in the rest of the country. Maybe they ultimately that kind of a generation, a new generation created with that kind of corporate executive cadre, may come back to Jammu and Kashmir and ignite their own investment profile. In this context, I am glad that Institute of Company Secretaries of India, you have already chosen to come here. We had a collaboration with them. Maybe I am suggesting other institutes also to repeat the same. As regards the economy of the state, Jammu and Kashmir has rich reserves of water, agro, forest, herbal, minerals, resources. And main industrial units in the state are handlooms, handicraft, gems, jewelry, which where more skill has to be added. More and more skill you add. For these products, will add more value addition. And that's how the proper marketing, procurement, and the skill addition will definitely enrich the people and the artisans here. More than 70% of the people of the state are engaged in agriculture. That agriculture sector contributes less than 1/3 of the state's income. The state is heavily dependent on the import of agriculture, poultry products from other states. I know very well this is the case. Even the rest of the India, that in our country, not more than 6% of the agro business, will respond to the agriculture or horticulture. We need to develop that. That's why I am suggesting you. In fact, the producers companies, which you form it in a big way, may elevate this position. Maybe all the developed countries like US and other, 90% of the agriculture, horticulture, and floriculture, all these products have been processed. That's how they are enriched. We become poor because we produce, but we will not add anything more. This is where our country has to take march forward. And this is how this is not only in Jammu and Kashmir, rest of the country also. We are doing something particularly promoting the producer companies too, so that there can be value addition everywhere. And no product from that particular village, that particular complex will go without a value addition. I think we have to take this as a model and in fact we take it forward. In view of the high growth prospects of sectors such as horticulture, food processing, there is a huge scope for higher production. Productivity in certain products such as high value foods, saffron, spices and other cash crops. Use of new technologies including agricultural inputs such as high yielding seeds, pesticides, latest farming techniques need to be encouraged. And in fact, the best practices for other states such as Punjab, Himachal Pradesh may be looked into. Value addition by processing lower grade foods locally and improving profitability by use of modern marketing techniques is the need of the hour. In fact, small and medium enterprises, SMEs, play a vital role for the growth of Indian economy by contributing 45% of the industrial output. Not necessary that only big industries should strive. In fact, 60% of the exports are from the small scale SME sector. We need to cultivate them. And in fact, the SMEs employ 60 million people, creating 1.3 million jobs every year and producing more than 8,000 quality products for the Indian and international market. According to the Prime Minister Task Force Export on MSCs 2010, India's development in J&K depends not only on availability of credit, but also on many non-credit needs of the MSCs like capacity building through EDPs, skill upgradation, technology or modernization, marketing facilities, etc. In this context, the task force recommends that all concerned departments of state and central government be coordinated with them. National skill development is a big program which is decided by Prime Minister of the country. Maybe this year I think 30,000 crores have been given. And as a plan, 33,000 crores have been given. I think Jammu and Kashmir should take advantage of this. And suppose you can start now a series of national skill development centers. We need to start it. And in fact, Suppose, the academic capacity is not enough in this state, maybe that, you can ask your youth to go to various national schools, skill development centers which are being opened everywhere in the country. I think this is one sector, we need to take it forward. Maybe we can train them, train your corporate executives can be produced from this state. These institutes of excellence can also conduct training modules for the students, enabling them develop their skills and enhance their employability and overall capacity building. I have no doubt that the state government under the dynamic leadership of the present young Chief Minister will provide the necessary environment to take this concept forward in a meaningful way. I am happy to say that the Institute is entering into MOU with the University of Kashmir for mutual benefits for promoting excellence. As far as your institute is concerned, you take it further because in fact, we need to raise the standard of the training which we are doing it. With the advent of global village, thanks to mind-boggling scientific technological advancement, which pronouncing the depth of distance and speeding up communication, people contacts have become instantaneous across the nations. Knowledge constantly makes itself absolute, with the result that today's advanced knowledge is tomorrow's ignorance. In such a paradigm shift, one has to be on learning curve and continuously move on. All the knowledge workers have leveraged intellectual capital for growth, otherwise someone else will be at the top of the pecking order. Managing change is by far one of the biggest challenges we face, both in our personal life and our professional life. Removing the boundaries built or the force built within our mind will have to be first removed and dismantled. Then you will get access to new horizons of life. The opportunities crop up as a result of change in economic, social, technological, environmental changes which are the resultant factor of internationalization of business. Not only business and profession, but also the regulators of the society have to live with the changes, keep in pace with the changes and move towards emerging change. Friends, an effective, conducive legal and regulatory environment is being built. New company bill is coming. I think the Institute of Company Secretaries will have a greater role to play in that new bill which is going to come. And the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has come out with virtual office in the form of e-file, MC, to demonstrate education and production. I appreciate the Institute of Company Secretaries for having joined us effectively to make this change possible. Major change that impacted the business globally is the change in the mindset. In fact, there has been change in the societal expectation from the business in the form of governance, environment consciousness, transparency, ethics, etc. I think we need to take all these changes forward. I think all of us should become the change agents. And I'm very happy that our honorable young Chief Minister could make time to come over to this. And in fact, I think this will herald a new governance initiative in so far as the corporate development is concerned in Jammu and Kashmir. I look forward to that great change. And as I already told you that we should hold more and more such conferences in Jammu and Kashmir so that the people should feel that they are part of the change, fast change which is taking place in this country, particularly to derive the democratic dividend opportunity. That window of opportunity, they should participate to make it their own. With this, I conclude with the conference, 2 days conference. I was told there are a number of subjects. We have already kept that. I wish the conference a great success. I think this conference, particularly, I am very particular that we have 300 most backward districts in the country, where those areas are virgin districts, insofar as the investment profile is concerned. The idea is that through CSR and many of the activities, we would like to state the investment mindset to every segment of the society, and make it an inclusive one, not only territorially, but also inclusive one as far as the segment of the society is concerned. With this, I conclude and wish the conference a great success, wish the state a great march under the leadership of dynamic leadership of our forward so that you become major partners in the march of development and progress of this great nation. Thank you very much.
As you know, ICSI brings out various publications, and for this 13th National Conference of Practicing Company Secretaries, we have brought out a background from souvenir. May I request Mr. Nisar Ahmed, our President, to kindly organize the release of this through the hands of our Chief Minister, Shri Omar. On transfer pricing, may I request Mr. Practising, Chairman of Srinagar chapter, to kindly have it released from Dr. Virappa Moili, please. There is another referencer on e-forms. May I request our Secretary and CEO, Shri N.K. Jain, to kindly have it released to Mr. Navid Masood. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Navid Masood Sahab, Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India, Janab Nasir Ahmed Sahab, President, Institute of Company Secretaries of India, Janab Mushtaq Sahab, Chairman and CEO, J&K Bank, Janab Bajaj Sahab, Janab Vaid Sahab, Janab N.K. Jain Sahab, Janab Parvez Ahmed Sahab, distinguished participants in this two-day workshop of the Conference of Practicing Company Secretaries, senior officers of the state government, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I'd like to add my own words of welcome to Janab Moili Sahab, his colleagues from Government of India, for having spared the time to be amongst us this morning. I'm particularly grateful to Janab Moili Sahab for the kind words that he has used in his address, and I hope that all of us that he has used those words for can live up to the high expectations that he has from us. I'm also extremely grateful to the Institute of Company Secretaries of India for having selected Srinagar for this 13th edition of this conference. I do understand that the selection of Srinagar is never an easy decision, in spite of the fact that we have made tremendous progress in taking this state towards a semblance of normalcy after more than 2 decades of trouble. We are still plagued with the disadvantage of the perception of Jammu and Kashmir being an incredibly dangerous place to visit. And therefore, inevitably, when a person desirous of visiting the valley in particular tells their family or friends that we are going to Srinagar, the general reaction that they get is to pagal ho gaye ho, aur kahi jagah mile nahi jahan aap ja sakte the. And therefore, to have all of you here is for us a very encouraging, is very encouraging for us. And we hope that you will take back from here our message that Jammu and Kashmir is gradually moving, as I said, towards a semblance of normalcy. We are very much open for business, we're open for tourism, and if there's one thing that flows through our veins, it's our hospitality. And we hope very much that you enjoy our hospitality here over the next few days, and also come back again in the not too distant future. As far as this conference is concerned, I find myself a little out of my depth. I am not a practicing company secretary. In fact, I am as far removed from a company secretary as it is possible to be. And therefore, were I to talk too much about what company secretaries should or shouldn't do, it would be the equivalent of practicing or preaching to the converted, which is something I try and make a habit of not doing. But under the circumstances, I thought that I would use this opportunity to share a few stray thoughts that I have on these very vital subjects, particularly of governance and of corporate governance. There has never been, to my mind, a riskier environment to do business in than the environment that prevails now. And this is not unique to India. In fact, if anything, we are the victims of circumstances beyond our creation that we have to factor in now to our own business environments. And unfortunately, where risk is high, the desire to circumvent that risk also grows. Now, there are some who circumvent that risk ethically. There are some who choose to circumvent that risk using unethical practices. And that is where the role of practicing company secretaries becomes an extremely important role. Because laws are common for everybody. If law was the only factor that determined how businesses function, then you would not have such stark differences in the way companies choose to operate as two clear examples of, let's say, Satyam and TCS. Both companies operating in the same sphere of business, both companies operating under the same laws, under the same guidelines, but two completely different outcomes to the way in which they have done business. And therefore, while law is one part of it, ethics and practices becomes another equally important facet to how business is done. And therefore, the role of company secretaries and practicing company secretaries assumes enormous importance in today's day and age, where some businesses will look for ways and means to circumvent the laws, will have weak ethical practices, weak, for want of a better word, business morality, and run the risk of putting not only the company, but much wider, the investors in that company at risk. The fact is that a lot of people put a lot of money, hard-earned money, in the hope of a better future into companies that they think over time will give them their just rewards. And therefore, when you find companies like that adopting unsound business practices, straying from what would otherwise be an ethical business practice model, clearly more needs to be done to close in on such elements, to clamp down on such elements, and to ensure that such businesses do not get away with such practices. And the same is true not just for India. These sort of elements are not unique to India. I mean, you have only to look at cases like Enron to understand that weak business ethics is a disease that can be found even in the most strongest of economies. With risk management, and particularly in today's business environment, how do we guard against the risk that we are facing is something that we have to learn from people like yourselves who have a wider perspective in this. And as I said, to my mind, there has never been a riskier environment to do business in. But if anything, Indian business is well versed with dealing with risk and surviving change. I remember when I was a junior minister in the Commerce Ministry, Government of India, it was the time during which the World Trade Organization had insisted that we do away with our quantitative restrictions on imports. And there was this widespread belief that the Indian economy would be flooded by cheap imports, that Indian business would not survive the competition, particularly from China. Well-established corporate houses, the products of which you would have to wait for years before you were able to lay your hands on because there was such a long waiting list were worried that they would disappear. But instead of disappearing, they have thrived. They've gone from strength to strength. They've found newer markets. They've gone to different continents. I mean, there was a time when you would never imagine that a Bajaj, that time scooter, now motorcycle, would sell anywhere outside of India. Because Bajaj could sit at home and decide whether they wanted to sell you a scooter or not. You had to wait for the Bajaj dealer to decide whether he wanted to grace you with a scooter. Same is with our automobile industry. I remember the time when a Premier Padmini, a Fiat, had a long waiting list on it. The company would decide. The dealer was king. The dealer would decide कि मैं आपको गाड़ी देना चाहता हूँ तो दे देता हूँ, नहीं देना चाहता हूँ तो आप इंतजार करिए. That was the circumstance that prevailed. Today now, situation is different. Not only is the consumer king, but the Indian business is looking outside for opportunities to alleviate the risks that arise from doing business within this environment. So it comes with advantages, it comes with disadvantages, but the most important thing is to ensure that you have in place the right people to give you the most sound advice. Now it is possible that corporates, even after getting good advice, won't follow it. And for that you can't blame the company secretaries. You can only blame those who have chosen not to take good advice. But at least the institution is there. And I was very pleased to hear from Dr. Moily and others who spoke that the institution of company secretary is going to be further strengthened because of the experiences that we have had with some cases of weak corporate governance. And therefore, this increased, expanded role for practicing company secretaries and company secretaries is one that we definitely look forward to seeing grow from strength to strength. Dr. Moily talked about J&K Bank. Yes, it is without a doubt one of the institutions in J&K that we are most proud of. It is the only company that we have from J&K that is traded on the stock market. It has gone from strength to strength. J&K Bank started at a time when the then chairman, if he went to a company and tried to introduce himself, the first question he was asked is this a cooperative bank? That's where they started from. Today, they are counted amongst the best banks in the country. They have amongst the lowest non-performing assets. They have withstood the pressures of this recent economic turmoil better than most other corporations. And I continue to hope that the bank, under the very able leadership of the current chairman and his team, will continue to go from strength to strength. I'm also very glad to see that one of the themes that you have selected today to discuss in the working that you will do after this inauguration is professional services in socio-economic development, with special reference to J&K. Because states like ours can do with good advice, and certainly socio-economic development is the order of the day. We have enormous strain on our resources. If I were to tell you how my balance sheet, so to speak, stacks up in terms of what I earn and what I spend, it's a horrendous story. After taxing absolutely everything, my sum total of my earnings is about 6,500 crores. My salary bill on government servants alone is 11,500 crores. My pension bill is another 2,000 crores. My loss on account of electricity is another 2,000 crores. So it's no wonder that in 3.5 years my hair has gone grey, counting every single penny, trying to figure out how to keep this ship afloat and how to keep development activities and also job generation going. One of the major challenges, as rightly pointed out by Dr. Moily, is the challenge of unemployment. And that's why we hope to be able to create an atmosphere conducive for private investment. We don't expect a situation where you will have the big Reliance refinery type businesses and factories like that coming up here, because any business that has to import its raw material only to export its finished product is starting from a disadvantage, particularly in a geographically challenged place like Jammu and Kashmir. But there are inherent advantages in a number of sectors, particularly agro processing, tourism, IT-enabled services. There are numerous areas where we believe high-value, low-volume products can be developed and encouraged here, and that's what we're trying to do. We find your presence here extremely encouraging. We hope that we can convince you to come back again and again, but I would like to conclude by thanking Dr. Moily for having spared the time to come here to Srinagar to be a part of this function. I'd like to thank the Institute of Company Secretaries of India for having selected Srinagar, and above all, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for have come to Srinagar, and I hope you give us an opportunity in the future to welcome you back again. Thank you all very much.
Mr. Ramesh Masood, Mr. Mushtaq, Ahmed, Chairman, JNK Bank, distinguished invitees, members of the press and media. It's my pleasant duty to propose a vote of thanks, but I'll just take a minute. When we landed in Srinagar, the step of Janab Abdullah Sahab was everywhere. We were breathing fresh air. It was a feast to the eyes. We saw hundreds of shigaras floating in Dal Lake with a lot of colors and a large number of tourists freely enjoying the atmosphere of Srinagar. And I think that is what speaks for itself, that today Jammu and Kashmir has a different environment than what we have seen a decade ago. I think full credit goes to the government of Janab Abdullah Sahab. Please give him a big round of applause. We are grateful to you, Honorable Chief Minister Sahab, for sparing your very, very valuable time to be with us at this point of time. We rededicate ourselves, the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, to put our humble contribution in development of JNK, and particularly the students who have got a lot of opportunities here to become company secretaries and contribute to the state economy. May I request Mr. Nisar Ahmed, President of the Institute, to present a memento as a token of our respect and regards for the Honorable Chief Minister, and request. May I request Mr. Rakesh Singh, the Vice President of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, to kindly come forward and present a memento to Dr. Moily as a token of our respect and regard. Please join me in proposing a hearty vote of thanks to
both the institutes.
Mr. Ramesh Masood, please schedule the APP to be with us this morning. May I request Mr. P.